Ladies, gentlemen, and other. It's our
Stop
buddy
saying
Jeff Meach
other.
and other. I said you don't
Other
say
is
other.
not. It's not.
Hold on, Jeff. We gotta figure this out.
It's
Hold
on the. It's on the way to being what you want to be, but
Okay.
it's not.
Ladies, gentlemen, people
Nope.
that aren't ladies or gentlemen or both.
Jesus Christ, can you just introduce me? I'm so confused.
Jeff, of course, did clown parties with us back in the day. And
Yep.
here you might recognize him from Blackish. And how many Planet Fitness commercials am I seeing? Congratulations.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I signed a 3-year deal with Planet Fitness to be their new spokesperson. So that
This is great.
Yeah.
Do they tell you, Jeff? Do they just trust, hey, you're an actor, you care about your looks, or do they tell you, hey, it's a 3-year deal, but you can't put on weight?
That's a very good question. Well, I can tell you I wore a Spank for the first few episodes I shot or commercials I shot, because I got to keep it a little tight. But yeah, man, I guess I can't get like that, I assume. But no one's disgusted with me. It's the luck of just being a decent looking white guy. They just trust that it'll be okay. Like nobody, I feel like if it was a woman, I bet it would be a different situation. They'd be like, just keep it tight. But no one said anything.
You get to be relatable. That's
Thank you. That's exactly right, Emda. It's literally how I've made a career.
That was a neg.
No, we used to do kids parties, and Jeff would always get the cush job because he looks like Prince Charming. But like, not the kids. The kids, anyone could look like Prince Charming to the kids. You just wear that robe or whatever the fuck. But to the moms, Jeff was Prince Charming.
I had a specialty with women over 50. I had a gift.
They not only made me be Shrek instead of Prince Charming, it had to be a big head Shrek.
Like bobblehead Shrek.
Yes, very.
Do not show his face. Do not let the moms of Greenwich, Connecticut see that man's face. Long time ago, man. Long time ago.
Do you still have those skills? Can you make a balloon dog, for example?
You know what? That's a good question. I can still make a dog. I can make a dog. I can make a mean sword still, because that was always the gift. No matter what, you'd be like, the kid be like, I want a starfish, and you'd be like, or do you want a sword?
Right.
And then they would just go to that. But I wonder how I could hold up doing a kids party again.
You have kids. Have you not brought out the skills?
Yeah, that's a great point. You know what I did?
You're coming up with a lot of great things.
When my kid, when my oldest turned like 5, he wanted to do a ninja party, and I did that. I was like, I remember Christy said, like, should we hire someone? I was like, what are you talking about? Let me wear all black and convince the kids that I'm a ninja.
Did he want a ninja party or a Superman party or ninjas?
Exactly. Always make it easier. Want a Batman or me dressed up in a black outfit bought at Gap.
What about a cool dad party? Is that do your friends like that?
What about a guy in his mid-30s, huh? Pushing 40.
I did a kids party during COVID. I also do kids party entertainment. I was hired to be Luke Skywalker, and I was like, full vibe, I got this. And then COVID party, though, no other kids showed up to the party.
Oh no!
So it was me for an hour as Luke Skywalker, like talking to this kid. And at one point, he like super earnestly looked at me and went, "So what was it like the last time you were in space?" And I was like, "Oh, great." So we like had a long conversation. Then he's like, "And when was that?" And I was like, "Okay, this is getting too cross-examined."
Trying to poke holes in your story.
And I was like, October, child. I was there in October. Like, what else do you want to know? Yeah. Oh well.
That's great. Where do you do kids parties? Like, where do you live? Where are you?
I live in the city in upstate, and I do kids parties
New
in
York.
the city. Yeah.
See, it's so funny when you no longer live there. That's so funny the way you said that. That is the elitist quality of all of us that lived in New York at one point. You just did it where you said the city. Like, I'm in Los Angeles. The city.
Los Angeles isn't the city. I
know it's not, but that's the thing about New York that makes New York so ridiculous, is that we can literally just say the words "the city" and assume that. This is a ridiculous story, but I was playing. This is 20 years ago. I was playing poker at the Borgata in Atlantic City, and some guys at the table were like, "Yo, where are you from, man?" I was like, "The city," and they were from Philadelphia, and they got pissed. They were like, "Oh, this motherfucker's from the city," and it lit me up.
Yeah. Philly's got a big chip on their shoulder, I think.
Big chip.
A few chips.
A couple of them.
We were talking about, I love this question personally. your people's exes, if they all got together, what would they say about you? And Jeff, if your exes were talking about you, what would they all agree on? What are your
Like-
pros and cons?
You think that? Oh, I wonder what they would talk about first. I think they would quickly get to.
He wasn't really Prince Charming. Like, what would?
Yeah. Not in
Only
bed.
makes a
he-
balloon sword.
Not in bed. He wasn't. There's no
I did-
balloon sword down there.
Instead of an engagement ring, how about a ninja?
Well, I was always a long-term commitment guy. Like I had the staple, like I had the high school sweetheart, then the college sweetheart,
Oh,
and then I met Christy soon after. So I mean, technically, I've been in 3 major relationships,
Right.
and so I guess the question would be if those 3 got together. So I'll bring my wife into it with those 3 besides.
They would say he's a very committed person.
Yeah, I think so. I know they would. I was mentioning this earlier when your guy was asking these questions. Like, I think my ADD would come up, my ability to pay attention, and I mean that on like every scope. I mean, again, like Christy and I've been together for a long time, so my exes would be from my my
Right.
20s, and then my teens.
How did you get diagnosed for ADD?
I did. Yeah. When I
And
was young. I
How
was
did
on
they
Ritalin and everything.
How do they figure
Same.
that out?
Same,
Like,
yours as well,
Emily too.
Emily?
Yeah.
Huh?
How
How
do
do
they
they
figure
figure it
that
out
out?
for both of you? Yeah, because science is boring, and I don't get ADD when I fuck, and like how it's shit I don't like.
I think
Should
you
we
fi-
start with what is ADD? Because there might be a misunderstanding in the room.
Oh, attention deficit disorder or attention deficit hyperactive disorder is the other one, ADHD. I don't really read a lot up on it. 'cause of
Emily?
ADD.
Because
Would
it
you be
bores
able
you,
to?
right?
Yeah.
I mean, I was also diagnosed in 4th grade, and I just
Jesus.
remember I had a friend who, after I got diagnosed with ADD, was like, I think I have it too. And, she would always copy me,
Right.
obviously. And then she went and she got diagnosed too. And so then even then I was like, is this maybe like not a thing? I don't know. I think if you're kind of like hyperactive and then
At
you
4?
can't pay attention. Yeah. Well, at 11 or whatever, 4th
Okay.
grade, 10.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But yeah, I took Ritalin and then I just like wasn't eating. I would take it before lunch and it makes it so you don't have an appetite. But actually, I have a pretty good ADD story, which is that I was allowed to be excused from the lunchroom early to go get my medicine from the nurse's office. And then I would go up to the classroom and wait for the rest of my class to come back from lunch. And one time, me and my friend didn't like this kid in our class, and we devised a plan that I would go do that. And then I poured water on his seat. And then he sat in the water, and then everybody called him Tinkle on his seat for a while.
So clever. You want to hold on to that. That's team of writers couldn't come up with tinkle on a seat. But is that ADD? What is that?
No, that has
That's
nothing. That's
fucked
just
up
being
is
a
what it
cruel
is.
person.
Okay.
That's just being a sociopathic child.
Did you take
Why-
Ritalin for that too?
Didn't help.
Why did you do that? Like looking back.
Because we didn't like him. I don't know what, because
Oh, okay.
whatever. Because we're just
Right.
like girls and we didn't like this boy in our, like, who knows? We're all just kids or whatever. But I think my friend was sort of the ringleader, and she was like, but I could be wrong. It might have been me. I'm not really sure. But then, and he was like, it was Emily and Julia. And we were like, no, how could we have done that?
Mm.
And
Did
the
you ever
teacher
look
was
him up?
like,
Mm.
I've like ran into him. I have run into him. I mean, we went to high school together too. We never became close after that.
No, it
No.
wasn't bonding.
No, we didn't trauma bond over that. To answer your question, I don't exactly know what ADHD or ADD is either. I don't take medicine for it anymore. So
Do you,
Okay.
Jeff?
Yeah, well, I started taking Adderall a few years ago on it, but I take it as needed. After going
Not
to
for
therapy.
funsies.
Not for fun. What's funny with ADD people, how do I say this? It's like for those of us that are, like really have it, and I say that in that way, like I noticed Emily just said that where her friend was like, I might have it too. Like, it was very obvious that I did. I was the kid in class where the teacher would be like, Jeff, and I'd be like, what? You know, like trying to pay attention. And then she'd be like, I need you to pay attention. I'd be like, uh-huh. And then I would immediately drift away. So like things that are not interesting to me, taxes, homework, anything that's mundane, remembering a grocery list without having to write it down. I just forget those things, or I just didn't do it. And it was really hard in school. I really didn't like school, but
I always called that, because I relate, and I always called that being allergic to being an adult. I don't want any responsibilities. Like I don't want to do my tax. I don't even want to look at any of it.
But do you ever, Hemda, like the thing was that for those of us with it, a big phrase in our lives is, I don't know, right? Like someone would say to you, why did you do that? Like, why did this happen? Why did you forget that? And most ADD people will often have the phrase, I don't know. I'm so sorry. I didn't remember. I forgot. And you feel bad. Like you really, do you remember, honey, do you remember when I asked you to do that thing? My wife will say or something. I'll be like, I'm so sorry. I don't remember you asking me to do that. So
okay. I'm not blacking out of my life here and again. That sounds hard.
Everybody fine. No one thinks taxes are fun. It's just, and I use that as kind of a blanket, thing to do. But yeah, I don't even remember taking Ritalin very much. I don't remember. It's funny that Emily also brought up another one, which we've talked about a lot, which is food. People are like, if you go on, if you take Adderall, and I remember, especially with Ritalin, they were like, it'll really suppress your appetite. And I was like, no, it won't. Not this appetite.
See, but my response to that is, it'll suppress my appetite. I'm secretly thrilled.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that sounds terrible.
Not my appetite.
Oh, and I understand that that's not the greatest thing, but
you pull out your skinny jeans and you're like, any day now.
I'm gonna get there. Well, there's all this, obvious stigma around Adderall, and because it's a drug, because it's speed. I mean, let's be honest. But for me, when I take it, like the first time I took it, I absolutely cried. I did. I totally cried because 20 minutes later, I was focused. I was able to accomplish a mundane task.
Oh, you cried out of happiness.
I cried. I'm sorry. Yes, I cried out of happiness because it was just it didn't.
You cried because you were doing your taxes.
Yeah. I was like, I love this is so fun. Yeah, I did. I really did. The first time I took it, I cried. And since then, I take it as needed. I don't take it as much. I don't like taking pills, drugs. I just don't. I don't like usually things in my body in that way. I don't know why. I just don't. So I forget.
How do you know when you need it? Like you forget your wife's anniversary, yours also, and then you go, and then you grab a pill as needed.
That's a great question. But Jeff, it's today. It doesn't matter.
You take the pill today.
I knew it. I'll be right back. No, you know what? That's a great question. It'll be like, 10 o'clock in the morning, and I see the list that I've made for myself. I'm a big list person. You have to be ADD people. And I'll be like, holy shit, I've got to accomplish this. I'll pop an Adderall, and hopefully that'll help me get this done. Cause Adderall is a big thing in college, right? College kids are like, I got to stay up all night and take Adderall. And I've spoken to people that have taken it before, and they're like, yeah, my brain feels on fire. And I'm like, I feel normal. Like for me, that's the difference. That's like one of the main differences.
Oh yeah. I took like half of a pill, and I felt the speed come on.
Right.
I still got a lot done, and it was like the only time ever that I cooked and wasn't full by the time the meal is done, because I'm like, just tasting. I was like, oh, I cooked this whole meal for like 10 or so people, and I didn't eat anything.
Right.
That's I'm on drugs. Okay.
Anybody else take Adderall?
Well, I'm looking here at
I do actually, as needed. And now you're validating to me that I actually do have ADD, because I'm like, I make lots of lists because I'll literally think of something I have to do and be like, I got to write it down because I will immediately forget what it is. And I have to keep it all organized. But yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why you were diagnosed as a kid. Like they're pretty good at that.
I guess so.
You've got it.
You're making me think I have it.
Easy. Hold on. Let's go.
Well, Keith, does it make you really think you have it?
When he said the phrase,
I don't know.
I don't know. I guess I do now, as this being a piece of shit on this project. But do you tend to avoid or delay getting started on a new important task? Yeah. Do you find the majority of your tasks are boring or repetitive, making them difficult to complete? Not the majority, but the ones that are, yes. Do you find yourself making careless mistakes when engaged in something you feel is boring? Of course. How often do you feel restless or fidgety? Not really. I'm pretty good at, COVID's a godsend. Do you regularly fail to remember important appointments or obligations? Sometimes. Do you have difficulty unwinding or feel often on the go? Not really.
I wouldn't describe you as on the go.
Yeah. You have difficulty concentrating on
More of a
people when they're
stayer.
Yeah, you're on the stay.
you have difficulty concentrating on people when they're speaking to you. I don't know, like, but on Keith and the Girl, you'll hear me change the topic if I can give a fuck. I might have it.
I'm trying to look up another. This is for real. Christy and I, we were clicking on the television Saturday morning. It was before we had kids, and there's this guy named Dr. Mark Hyman. Makes me giggle. And his thing popped up. I saw it, and it said like the full title on the on TiVo said like Mark Hyman's 7 strategies for ADD or something like that. And I clicked on it, and I mean, it felt like it was out of a movie. He was like, here's how these are the 7 different types of ADD. Number 1. And he listed all the like things that you were kind of listing right there, plus some. And my wife and I were just laughing hysterical as we were like, yeah,
yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, no, that one too. Oh boy. And that, and
do you frequently misplace things? Do you, Jeff?
I mean, I bought a beautiful water bottle so that I deeply fell in love with this water bottle recently. I lost it in a week.
Emily?
I used to like leave stuff in cabs all the time. And when I was a little kid, I used to just like constantly leave my clothes at camp and whatever. But I've gotten pretty good. Like I trained myself to always look in a cab when I get out to make sure I have all my things. And I also trained myself to not put my stuff down. If I put something down, I put it in my purse or like it's attached to my person so that I won't leave it.
I have
things like that.
I have a CO2 gun. It's CO2, but it's still in the shape of a gun. I don't know where it is right now.
What is that?
Like an airsoft gun. I should still know where it is, even if it's airsoft.
I got a Glock and bought it a week ago. Let me ask my 7-year-old.
I carry my remote with me, room to room. Never know where that is.
Keith, when you were drinking, did you remember more or less than you do now? Like, did it, and this is a weird question, did it help you focus? Because you seemed pretty focused after a certain amount of drinking. You would organize things, you would write a lot.
Maybe. Yeah. It did get me in like a zone sometimes. Yeah.
Well, guys, what about the basic, like, was school a nightmare? I mean, like, school was a nightmare for me. It was an absolute nightmare. And I can see like right there, like Shelton, you just shook your head no, right? Like,
I mean, school was fine. It was the people who like shit talked me for being a faggot that were like not the reason.
That's ADD.
That has nothing to do with ADD.
Yeah, like, I was like, I don't think that was ADHD.
I had
Like,
ADD
was,
with my bullies. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like more excited to be able to sit down and read because then like no one could yell at me. And I'd be like, ha ha ha. Like, look at me, my nose is in a book. You can't make fun of me now. Yeah.
Do you find yourself avoiding situations like waiting your turn in line when waiting is expected and appropriate? I'm a good line sitter. A lot of people aren't have noticed. I'm a good waiter.
Yeah.
Enter your email.
Great quality in a person.
Okay. Thank you. I'm a very good waiter. I said it. That's how I got my girlfriend. I said, let me tell you a couple things about me.
A waiter, a stayer.
Good at waiting.
But he never does that thing. Like if you're waiting in line and you're waiting for a while, let's say you can't even use your phone, or even if you can, you will hear people go like, or like get fidgety, move around a little bit. He just stands there. That's how I picture you. Am I wrong?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
You do not have ADD. You don't have it. Like that's
okay.
You guys know somebody else that has ADD, but that's different than mine. It's slightly. Do you guys ever talk to Max anywhere? Max Goldblatt, Max Darwin. Remember Max?
Yeah, I remember Max.
Max?
I remember little trickster Max.
Yeah, Max has different, like he's somebody else who blatantly had.
Well, that's like manic, right?
But that is a different kind than mine. That is like mine is. We joke about my laziness, but like if I could do nothing and just watch movies all day, I would be a happy man. Like I really would.
I mean,
you know, and
Sure.
I know that forms into like, oh, is that lazy? But that is also just because getting started on something, sometimes doing to start a task takes fucking effort. Like it takes huge effort. But my brother Michael, who's similar to maybe what Max had or has as well, which is like there's like I mean, not to get scientific because I don't know this shit, but like their frontal lobe, I think it is, like fires like crazy. Like they get addicted to something. Hence why I think he's so good at doing magic, because he can get obsessive over something, but it's that one thing. You meet a lot of those people, the ones that are like, hey, I've been working on this project and I stayed awake for 48 hours. I just couldn't stop. I thought it's all I could think about, and they can't think about anything else. That's another form of ADD. That's ADHD.
Keith, maybe it could be related to the drinking, where you used to be like, I have to focus on this. I have this drink to sort of find without consciously doing it. And now you have to find a different way to start projects, to get focused on them for 4 hours. That might be a different way to use your brain than you're
I'm
familiar
trying Ben
with.
and Jerry's, you know, they say pick something else up to take. Well, now I feel bad about Max, because Max was a regular on Keith and the Girl. And then behind our back, he contacted our sponsors and made personal deals for himself. That was very strange. You think that was ADD? Because now I feel bad.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, it's not
I'm
nice.
so sorry. That's
Me
not cool
too.
at all. Whoa, we
No,
got to talk about
thank
that another time. I apologize for bringing up
Not
someone
you.
that wronged you.
But his magic was good.
He does have good magic. But anyway,
Yeah.
so
Another magic. How many magic people do you know?
We used to do kids parties. Like that's how we met Jeff. I did it for like, I think 12, 13 years.
he contacted your sponsors to what? Try to get his own for himself, but he didn't have his own show.
He would,
did he?
But it would confuse the person. I'm contacting you on behalf of Keith and the Girl. Well, I believe you. I've heard you on Keith and the Girl. You would like
also
a
lying.
case of wine.
That's
you're
not
lying.
good.
Also
That is-
deception. That is not ADD.
That's magic.
But again, that's
Illusion.
And then he did
Illusion.
magic in that. It's this, people that listen to Keith and the Girl will recognize this. It's this, you know, it was just done on our spin-off show, Diamond Dogs, with Ray fairly recently, where I am bothered, but I'm not as bothered as I'm acting. So otherwise I would just, like, if I really, for example, Max, if I wanted you out of my life, period, that would be it. But I'm like, you know what? Maybe there's an excuse and we could talk about this, but you did me wrong. I'm going to talk about it on Keith and the Girl. So I bring this up and he goes, oh, and then you would just bamboozle me and say this on your show. And you know what? Now I'm not talking. I'm like, okay, how fucking convenient. And that was the end of our friendship.
Oh, wow. I truly had no idea. My bad.
Who else?
Way to
Who
go,
else?
Jeff.
What?
Nice,
My bad,
Jeff.
guys. My ADD. I forgot. Maybe he did tell me and I forgot. It's my ADD.
That's right.
I
that
think he
is
did
ADD.
tell you. So that's what's funny.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if I've had the whole conversation? I'm just sitting here like, yeah, I mean, I guess he was talking about Keith.
This is an ADD PSA now.
Well, it's fine. Yeah, no, this is interesting to talk about. It's a crazy subject. I mean, the joke my wife and I have is my doctor. Well, I can talk about this. So I went to a therapist for years. I'm sure we all went to therapist. Sheldon definitely been to therapy.
Oh yeah, I love a therapist.
Yeah.
And, someone help me with my mind, please.
And my therapist and I worked for years on, all this stuff. And finally we got to a point where she was like, well, you know what? I want to send you to who are the ones that can prescribe? What are their names? The
psychiatrists?
It is a psychiatrist, right? Yeah. So she sends me a psychiatrist. Now I've been with her for like 5 years at this point, and she's never even, I know a therapist can't prescribe you, but she never even mentioned medication. I was in that office for 5 minutes, and it felt so stereotypical. He was just like, what seems to be the problem? And I was like, I have ADD and, sometimes I struggle. And he's like, I'm going to write you a script for, and I was like, that's it. And we were done in 5 minutes. And this man wrote me a script for, I mean, is it a narcotic? Is that what?
He didn't even have time to say prescription.
Yeah.
I mean, he has
That's what
got
doctors
to
call
go.
it.
I get it, but it sounds so cutesy when you're rushing me out the door. Got your script?
Got your script, the little, yeah.
That's the hip lingo.
Yeah.
It
Are we
is.
good?
So
Script
how
away.
fast I was giving it to us. And my wife and I joke about the fact that he wanted me to take it 3 times a day, 8, 12, and 4. And again, he was like, you know, you got to be careful of your appetite, and I want you to take it. And I would forget. I remember she's like, well, what did you take your pills today? And I was like, I forgot. And that made us laugh because I would literally forget. And we'd blame the ADD, and it'd be like, oh, isn't that hilarious? I'm supposed to be taking this for the ADD, but I forgot to take it.
She's like,
That's
I wish
funny.
I had a straw man illness too.
That's funny because I've seen the alarm for like Xerxes has to take medication at a certain time. That alarm will go off. I have watched him go like this, pick up the phone, turn off the alarm, put it down, and continue doing. And I'm like, why do you think you just
You forget your medication.
I was like, what did you just do on your phone just now? Like, why do you think an alarm just went off? just curious. Were you like, that's an alarm anyway? It's amazing. But it's, you know, it's very specific thing. He's, you know, backstage in the marathon. Everything is gonna go as military style as you can with artists and comedians and everything. And he's pushing that through. But that alarm will go off and he's like, oh, that's for me and my personal life. Okay. We
Did
don't
he
know.
also
Well,
just hand you a cup through the curtain?
yes,
by the
he
way?
did. Yes.
He is on it, dude.
Yes.
That was really
And
sweet.
it's frothy milk.
Yeah.
It's frothy because we have a little frother. And because it's Party Time USA marathon time, there are 3 marshmallows in it.
That's very cute.
Oh, big time.
It's a herd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, want to hear something gross? Keith is gonna hate this. So we went camping when things opened up for half a second. We finally went outside and we went camping with a group of people, and there were leftover marshmallows. That was September. This is February.
Oh my god.
That's not gross.
Marshmallows don't go bad. After
Yeah,
that.
they're
It's
go
hard as
bad.
they're
shit.
good
It just,
forever.
they soften up in the coffee. I'm like, they feel stale before, but not in the tub.
They were a
Uh,
brick 5
It
minutes
would have been
ago.
wasteful for you to throw those out. You're
Thank
saving the
you.
environment.
I'm reading
Not my
this, by the
body,
way.
but the environment.
Sorry, your conversation bores me. Come down.
Oh, yeah.
From the
ADD.
Journal of General Internal Medicine, doctors listen to their patients for an average of 11 seconds before interrupting them and finding an answer.
Damn.
That's because they're
11.
smarter than us.
Right.
They
And
can
then
answer in 9. They're just being nice.
And then it reads, leading some experts to
Yeah.
argue that doctors' propensity to talk rather than listen may be detrimental to patient care. Could it?
You think?
Could it?
You think?
No, that seems crazy.
Oh my God. There's a doctor. So I've been, I don't know how to say this. I've been obsessed with getting my ears cleaned for about the last 5 years. I think I've been, I'm going to change.
That sounds like some LA shit.
It is super LA shit. I get
People
a
don't do
buildup
that
of
in the
wax.
city.
Yeah.
Emily, I get
We
a
don't
build.
we don't want to hear what's happening around here.
Yeah.
Oh, in the city? Really?
Yeah, we don't. It's the only way I could like get past the subway that runs past my house is my like earwax I've built up for protection.
You save it to sleep.
Well, I really do. I get an excessive buildup of earwax, you guys. And I started going to an ENT, and which is crazy. Has anybody ever had their ears
I
cleaned?
have. I've for no reason. I don't know where it came from. I mean, I had horrible some kind of buildup, and it made me like half deaf. And I had to like to find the right thing that a ear doctor does. And
It's
all
wild,
it just
right?
take out with your special tools, take it out. And it's looked like a little abortion before, or like a miscarriage.
He's not messing around.
I'm not
it's
messing around.
disgusting. And it's
Yeah,
I
got
mean,
like
that's why I
hair.
would want to do it, because like I love like Dr. Pimple Popper. I don't know if you guys watch that,
the
but
best. It's the best.
Yeah.
I love that. It's so
Oh, it's the best.
gratifying. So I think
Visceral.
that's that is a reason I would do that, is just so I could see that thing that came out of my ear.
I get
I'm-
goosebumps sometimes when I see one of those like good pimple pop. I don't know. Does that make us fucked up, or does
It's
that make us?
ADD. I think it's ADD.
Yeah.
I took a picture of the wax baby, and the assistant's like, "Why do you want to do that?" I'm like, "Look at it. It's record book shit."
Did you name it?
No, because you throw it away. You don't want to give it a name. But
Wear it a little vial around your neck? Come on, Tommy Lee did it with a vial of blood. Do it with your own earwax, baby.
but then they would try different liquids inside after they would do that, and then finally I'm like, "No, just stop putting shit in my ear.
Right.
Take it out and leave it." And then once they did that,
Did they
I
do the
didn't have
sucker
the
thing,
problem.
or did they do the water thing? Which one did they do to you?
I had everything. I had everything.
He
So
had
they
the
did-
he had the candle thing done. He went to
That's
like
bad for you. That has been
and then
deemed.
and then
as
that's
I was
what everyone
desperate.
yelled at him, but he was so desperate. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
everybody's
was-
like, it's bullshit. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. If it's psychosomatic, then do that. I don't care.
Dude,
and
if
then,
a small
finally
bug
they took
came
it
out of your ear, you made the right move.
Yeah.
If you couldn't hear, you had shit built up in your ears. Yeah, I did too. But
so
I'm
I
kind
know
of
the
obsessed with
joy.
it.
So I'm saying yes, I do know the joy. You
have
get to
Superman hearing
experience.
after you're done. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
we bought, and by we I mean Xerxes, he bought a water at home, like flood your ear with water and then it shoots back out the garbage. And he does it for me, and I'm a big baby the entire time. I'm like, I
feel
hate
like it
this. He
shouldn't be
goes,
done at
I
home.
know.
I agree with Emily.
It's Pam.
Totally
Well,
agree with
he
Emily.
watched a bunch of
I
videos.
feel like a licensed professional.
Oh, good.
should
Oh, we
be-
watched a bunch of videos. Oh, good.
And so after he stormed the Capitol, he showed me how to.
It's called doing your own research. Okay.
Somebody recently told me it's called the University of YouTube. I thought that was the best thing I ever heard. Oh, did you go to the University of YouTube? I'm like, oh yeah.
We were asking, you were there behind the scenes, run-ins with the law, with the police. Emily, have you had run-ins when you were younger with a popo?
Well, it's kind of you to assume that it was when I was younger.
When you were
and-
older.
and it was. I did.
Mhm.
Yes, I did. I was home from college, and my brother, who was still in high school, was there. And my mom was out of town. My parents were divorced, and my mom was out of town. And my brother threw a rager in our house, and I was there, but I was like,
That's
I
a
gotta get outta
party.
here.
It's not that he lost his temper. That's a party.
Oh,
Right.
sorry. I was thinking he smashed all the plates.
No,
Yes.
sorry. He threw a gigantic party, and I was like, I have to get out of here. So I'm like, texting my friends, and I'm about to leave. And then the cops showed up, and I was the only person at the house who was over 18. So they were like, we're arresting you.
Mm.
No.
You're in
And I
charge
was like,
now.
I had nothing to do with this. And then they I remember that I was fucking with them a bunch because I was just like, who fucking, whatever. What are you going to do? Because I'm stupid and white.
Right.
And I was young. And at one point he I forget, he was like pouring out all the alcohol in the sink in front of me. And I was like, well,
Good. That's
good thing I
evidence.
set it up so that pipe goes into a bucket that I'm going to drink from later. And he was like, really? And I was like, no, pig. I didn't say pig. I'm just kidding.
You
There's
almost
something
pulled
about
teeth.
you, Emily. To know more about you. You're dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they ended up handcuffing me,
Mm.
and which was
me more about that.
unnecessary. They handcuffed me and walked me out of the house, and I did like a walk of shame in front of all the parents that had come to pick up the high school kids there. And I'm like, being walked to a fucking cop cruiser, handcuffed, and they put me in a cell for a few hours. And so that was my police run.
And then they just
Wow.
let you go.
They let you go?
Yeah, I mean, my parents came and picked me up, but the cops in our town growing up were known for being assholes and going to parties. There was a different time my brother had a party because he was a bad kid, and they showed up, but everybody had left the house. I guess I don't know how they knew the cops were coming or whatever, but my brother turned out the lights. Everybody left the house. It was dark, but he left the door unlocked. So they opened up the door. They went up to the attic in my house. Nobody's home. They just let themselves into my house. And they found his bong, and they broke it and left it there, and then left the house.
Huh.
Where did
These
you
are the-
grow
these are-
up?
Cops.
New
right?
Jersey.
These are adults. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought maybe left the door open. Somebody came for the party, saw nobody was there, thought it'd be funny. But these are cops.
No. Police officers let
Wow.
themselves into my house. And yeah, they were pretty awful.
Wow. When your brother was throwing a party and you wanted to leave, is that because you didn't like parties, or you knew this would be trouble for you?
No, neither. It was, I mean, I was in college, so I was like, I don't want to be around these high school kids.
I see.
And also it was loud and annoying, and I don't know why. I mean, I guess I should have not let him do it, but I was like, I don't know. I don't want to be around these obnoxious high school kids. I'm going to go hang out with my friends. And
No, that's fair. What are you supposed to do?
That's such. How old were you when you were telling the cop about the pipe in the bucket? That's
I
such
guess
balls.
I was,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. I was like 20.
I mean, even older. I was taking a drunk piss 4 a.m. on the street, Halfway through, I see lights and hear a police car behind me, and I'm like, ugh. I'm at the point that I can't stop, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I really can't stop. They're on the megaphone. What the fuck do you think you're doing? I'm really so sorry. I'm really so sorry. And I keep pissing. Then I come over to the car and they look at my license. They go, how about tomorrow morning? I go to this address and I piss on your house. And so I didn't pull an Emily. I do the opposite. I act like I'm scared. Oh God, no! Piss on my house. Who gives a
Please,
fuck?
sir,
It's-
don't piss on my house.
It's the city. There's piss everywhere. Who gives a shit? I'm like, oh God, that's a very good lesson. Thank you. Oh my God. But no, I would never go. The pipe leads to a bucket.
I don't know. I was just like, these fucking assholes, get out of my house.
Right.
Piece of shit.
Emily, you are intimidating.
Yeah.
That's something my exes might agree on.
I kind of wanted to circle back with Emily on that one, by the way. Mine were like, he forgets things. And they're like, Emily might burn our house down.
Always a
What-
possibility.
What would they say, Emily?
What I told Jerome
Yep.
was that I said they would all agree that I'm hot and cool and funny and interesting and smart. And also that's I think the main flaw they would agree on is that sometimes I'm super cold, that I can turn really just like ice cold.
Do
Are
you
you-
agree, or do you
are you-
think you just give off this this look like I'm not gonna smile all day?
Keith, what are you talking about? I've known her for 45 minutes and I agree with everything her exes are saying.
Thank
Those
you.
are all the words I would use to describe you. I'd be like, man, sometimes when she gets mad, she just shuts it down. Emily, please talk to me. Like I can.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true.
But then do you pick guys who are more mushy?
No,
No, they're
No.
also
I'm
sort
not
of-
attracted to mushy guys.
and not even like in intimate, like by yourselves. There's no
No, I'm not saying they can't have like a mushy side. I'm just saying I'm not like the type of person that goes for people that I can like easily dominate. I'm saying it should be a challenge.
Is dirty talk like fuck you?
No. Actually, well, it has been. I have a joke about that in my set, but it turned out I hated that guy is the end of that.